Now, the saddle seat riding is the way that Morgans are shown in America mostly. And it's a good subject because it is really the old-fashioned style of riding where because you want the front of the horse to come up and look stylish, you want to put your weight further back on the horse. And you want to ride with a longer stirrup and in a more upright position. And actually, if you look at the old pictures or the engravings of really sort of elegant people riding in Rotten Row, they are riding saddle seat style. And it was only probably in the 1920s that the forward seat, which turned out to be very good for jumping, became universal. And people have very short memories and they don't remember that actually, 100 years ago, everyone in England was riding saddle seat, as we call it. And it is interesting, when I look at a dressage horse, a top-level dressage horse in England, and my eye is tuned for Morgan riding, it seems odd to me that the riders have got a saddle very far forward on the horse, and it's a saddle that tips the body forwards, and then they kind of lean back in order to compensate for this. So really they're doing dressage in what is much more like a jumping saddle to me. Whereas with a Morgan, you ride with a much flatter saddle and you put it a little bit further back, and you comfortably put yourself in what's the right position for a horse which is going to elevate the front end.
We're at Mornington Morgans and we're in the arena now with a horse called Casanova. Now Morgans are probably more associated with driving and showing, but see, this horse is under saddle. We had a chat earlier about saddle seat. Is this the saddle for saddle seat?
Yes, that's the saddle for saddle seat, and as you can see, it's cut back so that it doesn't cover the shoulder of the horse, and it's got very little padding in it, so the weight of the rider is further back on the horse, and that encourages the front of the horse to come up.
Okay.
And it's just like if you look at the old engravings in sort of Illustrated London News or the sketch of people riding in Rotten Row. This is the kind of saddle that everyone used to ride in England. In fact, early hunting prints have this kind of saddle as well. People used to ride further back because the jumping saddle and the jumping style only really came in the 1920s, but it swept the board and everybody took it up regardless of what they were.
So it's got quite it's cut back at the pommel, if I just sort of amble up. Yeah. It's cut back at the pommel, so is that to allow the withers, or is that a...
Yes, but a Morgan is meant to have the neck in one line and not dip in front of the withers. And the withers are quite high, so that it allows freedom of movement for the horse.
Okay. And then you go down, you've got a very straight front of the saddle, and then a very large saddle flap, actually, that goes quite a long way.
And that tradition again goes from the days when people used to ride in elegant trousers rather than breeches and boots. And obviously you want to protect your trousers from the sweat of the horse.
Yes.
So it became fashionable to have quite a big flap on the saddle.
Absolutely. And then the girth, in relation to where the saddle is actually quite far forwards.
Right, the girth is in the normal place for a girth, but the saddle is further back.
Yeah, that's